Bible prophecy is fascinating and exciting. Visions of horses, plagues, heavenly signs, and beasts intrigue us. Are they just meaningless metaphors, or is there significant meaning for us today? A remarkable prophecy is found in the book of Revelation. It describes a beast rising up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns. What does this description represent? Is it a warning of events to come? Who is this end-time beast? Stay tuned as we look beyond today at the remarkable beast of Revelation.
Join our host Steve Myers and his guests as they help you understand your future on Beyond Today.
Prophecies of world domination, powerful dictators, and even the end of the world may come to mind when you hear of the beast of Revelation. What does it have to do with you? Can it affect you? Welcome to Beyond Today. I have 2 guests with me. We have Paul Suckling, a church pastor with the United Church of God, and Gerald Oss, the senior writer with the Good News magazine. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you, Steve.
Good to be here.
Well, when you talk about Bible prophecy, you talk about the book of Revelation, it seems one of the first things that comes to many people's minds is the fact that it's hard to understand. How in the world can I understand Bible prophecy? Can I understand the book of Revelation?
Well, yes, you can, Steve. The book's word itself means revealing. It is a revelation that God has given to mankind. He did it through His Son, Jesus the Christ, and that was passed on to the Apostle John. And that was when John was taken in vision into the future to a period of time called the Day of the Lord. And it reveals to us what God is going to do at the end of time when He personally steps in to resolve all of mankind's affairs.
So when you look to the book of Revelation, you said the end time, the day of the Lord. That's talking about somewhere that's just around the corner, just in the future. So it's something that would affect all of us. Is that right? That it's something that's revealed to us?
Yeah, if we're living in the end time, that's definitely true, and it has to be revealed to us. God does reveal to us, His Word, and He's not one who keeps it secret. It's not a mystery. That's why we have, as Paul already said, revelation that means to reveal. And so God is very open about what He has to say and what's going to happen in the future and how it affects us directly. And it does affect us directly.
So specifically, we can know. This doesn't have to be some kind of secret. And in a sense, when you begin to think about that, isn't that part of what makes it so interesting? Aren't we intrigued by prophecy? Aren't we intrigued by the fact that we see these things happening and somehow they're related to what it says in the Bible? Why do you suppose so many people are interested in prophetic things?
Well, I think they want to know because it's things and events that affect their everyday lives. It's governments, it's man's relationship to man, it's what's going to happen to me and my family. It's all of those personal questions that people are concerned about. And the book of Revelation gives us an enormous amount of knowledge to do with the end time events. What's going to happen on this earth?
It also has to do with catastrophes. People are interested in keeping safe, their family safe. So they're interested in great catastrophes as far as we're concerned right now as to what's happening around the world, whether it be a tsunami or whether it be, as we know, 9/11 or whatever it might be.
Yeah, and so you begin to talk about all those things, whether it is 9/11, whether it is terrorism, whether it is dictatorships, where it is regime changes around the world. All of those things actually tie in to the book of Revelation, don't they?
Well, they do, because the book of Revelation not only reveals many things, but it describes it in so many ways. And it describes churches, it describes events, it describes the beast that we're talking about, mysteries. All of these things are revealed as the book progresses.
And so it's a matter of how we open up that revelation, how we begin to understand it. And we're going to attempt to do that today, aren't we, as we talk about the beast itself. In fact, I think one of the first questions that people, once they understand the Bible can be understood, it has been revealed, Jesus Christ did the revealing, it seems to me people are going to ask, well, why is it important to me? Why is it necessary for me to understand? Why do I need to know this?
It's important for people to understand because it affects their lives. It affects their future. It affects their posterity. They're going to think about their grandkids. They're going to think about their immediate family. So it's vitally important for them to understand how these future events affect them directly. Really important to all the people, and it affects governments as well. They think about that.
Well, there's been so much happening in the world of recent days, not just world events as we were describing with bombings and earthquakes and tsunamis, all of those things, but the general interest in many populations with sci-fi, with movies, with books written, all of these things that are mysteries of the future. And humanity is generally concerned as well as fascinated and puzzled about what's happening and why.
You can't walk through the supermarket without seeing the tabloids that have something prophetic, it seems, in them.
Right.
And so I think the important part then is you've got to get back to the truth. Where do we look for truth when it comes in defining these issues?
Now, you can't have the Enquirer telling you what to do, or the Star, whatever little magazine is out there. You have to look to the source, and that source, of course, is the Bible.
And that's where you get back to the fact that Jesus Christ inspired the book of Revelation. He revealed it. He opened up the truth for us. And can we say that it does affect us and that it is important for every one of us?
Well, yes, we can look back on history. We can see what's happened in the past, what God said would happen. We can look back and see that it took place, so therefore we can trust what's going to happen in the future.
And so absolutely, it seems that when you talk about the day of the Lord, that sounds like a scary term. Or when you talk about beasts with heads and horns all over the place, those are things that seem, but that's mysterious. That how could I possibly understand? How could that possibly relate? But when we begin to look at it very specifically, we can see that God intended that for us to understand something about that something that will affect our lives.
There are guideposts all along the way. There are markers all along the way. And of course the Bible is very clear on those markers. And all we have to do is figure out where those markers are. You know a little bit about history. You read a little bit about history, what's happened, and what God says is going to take place in the future. You can put these things together with God's help. And the Bible then becomes clear to you.
Yeah, as Jerry just said, markers through time. And the book of Daniel and other books have prophetic markers of events that God said would happen, and we can look back and see, yes, they happened.
And so they're not ancient writings that have no effect on my life today. These are things that I can understand, and that they are revealed, and that with understanding comes the need to be able to understand and do something about these things. We talked about the fact of how people need to know, and it's important because it does affect their lives. Now, is there another aspect of this that affects everyone?
Big time. Has to do with government, is what I'm thinking of here. That government has a direct effect on our lives. There's good
It's
government.
not just at tax time, right?
No. It's at all times. We're talking about freedoms. We're talking, what we can and can't do and what government can and can't do. So government has a direct effect on our lives. And of course, we see that every day on television or read about it in newspapers.
And that's a big part in America here is freedoms. Yes. We love our freedom.
Big time, yeah.
And how does that tie in? How does that affect things when you talk about government?
Well, if people lose their freedoms, they're going to be in uproar. But when you look at world history and times past, and as we know, times present, there are many, many countries suffer under very bad governments. There have been awful governments in the past. The government of Hitler during World War II, World War I, the leadership there. Even more recently, people in Africa under Idi Amin, people in the Far East under Pol Pot. There have been all kinds of wretched governments that have ruined human lives, killed and destroyed hundreds of thousands of people just in the name of their power. So government is an incredibly important thing, and this beast points us to the final governments of this man's rule on earth.
So it is important for every one of us. Government can and does affect our life. It's, some scary things that are out in the future. We're going to talk about those things. We hope you will stay tuned because the Bible does reveal what's ahead for your world. Stay with us.
What is the matrix of meanings of the book of Revelation, with its mysterious images of catastrophes, beasts, and demonic traps of deception? Find out by going to BeyondToday.tv or calling 1-888-886-8632 for your free copy of the Book of Revelation Unveiled. Find out where history, where global politics, and global religions in control of the world system are leading us all. See how world events are exactly described in the story flow of the Book of Revelation in your Bible. Decode the images of the beast as the scrolls in Revelation open before your eyes. Understand how even Christianity will dissolve as the world system explodes in religious-inspired violence. Solve the riddle of the number of the beast. See the signs of the Messiah in the events to come at BeyondToday.tv or call 1-888-886-8632.
We've been talking about the beast of Revelation. We want you to go online. Go to beyondtoday.tv. Order this booklet, the Book of Revelation Unveiled. Here's that horrible beast that